Today has been an amazing day for me. Today was the day that I introduced Dr. Neil DeGrasse Tyson for his event tonight. And I just wanted to share my thoughts on it. I'm going to edit a picture into this video somewhere of meeting him, and I'll have more pictures coming up later that I'll put into future videos. But I'm just going to go through what it was like to have dinner with him, because there's so much stuff I have here. I took 12 pages of notes tonight on just his whole lecture, and I have so much to say about it. So I'm going to try and split that up into a couple of videos. But I'll talk about tonight and dinner, and also this afternoon when I did the sound check and got to meet him. In fact, I'm going to start with that. So he actually showed up early despite some interesting Colorado spring weather, which in mid-April is for some reason blizzard. He managed to show up early, and when I was doing the sound check, he was there. And I was wearing a tie that I'll show here. I don't know if you can tell, but it's covered in periodic tables. So they introduced me to him, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Neil Tyson." And I introduced myself and just tried to contain my excitement. So my heart was going probably about 200 beats a minute, and I responded, "Hi, I'm Jordan Townsend." Like, I stumbled a little bit, my voice cracks a little, but it was so amazing, and I couldn't calm down for several hours. Anyway, on to dinner. So I was lucky enough to sit at the same table as him, and the conversation was awesome. He was talking, it started about people who are taller than their parents, and he was talking about the relationship between height and nutrition, and those that get the best nutrition during their developmental years end up taller. So we're talking, and I brought up that the height difference between North Korea and South Korea is on average 5 inches, and he joked and said, "That's probably the smallest of all the differences from North Korea." And most of the conversation at dinner, the guy sitting to the left of me was actually deaf and had a cochlear implant, and Dr. Tyson was just fascinated with how that worked, and we were learning all about that, and I found the whole thing fascinating as well. After that, he gave a little brief speech, which I still managed to take a page of notes on it all, just kind of go through, which I thought was really cool. So he said that in high school, college, graduate school, his grade was always within 0.1 of a 3.0 GPA. And he talks about how the most successful people, a lot of them didn't have the best grades, but what mattered was ambition. And I loved that. I thought it was great. And he talks about the SAT. He didn't do very well on his verbal SAT score. And then 6 books later, he was writing a column for a magazine, and he got a letter from the SAT, and he thought, great, what are they going to say, that they reanalyzed him, that he actually failed? They wanted to use one of his columns in the verbal SAT test, which is funny because he did really poorly on it. Someone asked him about being the sexiest astrophysicist alive, and showed a magazine. And the magazine, he said, was published by the University of Texas at Austin. And he said, what's really funny is he was a graduate student there, And he never mentions that. He said, well, they kicked me out of graduate school, so I don't consider it a high point in my life. And the university wanted to associate themselves with him. So they were doing something about alumni and what they'd done. And they were actually citing an article from People from the year 2000, their annual Sexiest Man Alive. That year they had a category for astrophysicist. It's a category they've had once. And he won it. So, he was talking about the apparent sexism that only men are in the Sexiest Man Alive competition and in all the subcategories. And he said something interesting. He said, in fairness to People, men were never objectified with sex as a measure before they started that. He disagrees with sex being a measure to objectify people or objectifying people at all. But he said at the time that was a big move for People, actually, toward eliminating that sexism. Like, if they're going to objectify people, at least objectify them equally. So I have another 11 pages of notes, and I'll upload different things, but it was just a great honor. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, this will probably take at least 3 videos, so stay with me, and thanks for watching as always.